ISKCON Bangalore and the Akshayapatra Foundation for their holy presence. I express my gratitude to Jagat Sakshi Prabhu for having come here and all the devotees. I express my heartfelt gratitude to the online media presence and our dear online viewers around the world. Last but not the least, words of gratitude are not enough to express my happiness and gratitude on behalf of ISKCON as well as my personal behalf for the wholehearted support from all those who made this day possible. With these words, I would say, Sarvam Krishna Arpanam, Hare Krishna, and Krishna and Gopal. Thank you all. All please rise and let's sing the national anthem. Thank you, one and all. Hare Krishna, and I would like to inform Her Highness Princess Aswathy Thirunal Gowri Lakshmi Bayi, His Grace Madhu Pandit Dasa, President ISKCON Bangalore and Chairman of Akshayapatra Foundation, award-winning author Shri Hindol Sengupta, His Grace Chanchalapathi Dasa, Senior Vice President ISKCON Bangalore and Vice Chairman Akshayapatra Foundation. I would now humbly request the honorable guest of the day to proceed towards lighting the lamp for the auspicious beginning of the event.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshkaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you very much. Now it's my honor to invite His Grace Chanchalapathi Dasa, Senior Vice President ISKCON Bangalore and Vice Chairman of the Akshayapatra Foundation for the welcome address.
praying for the blessings of the presiding deities of the city, Shri Ananta Padmanabha Swami. On behalf of ISKCON, I wish to extend a hearty welcome to the Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Arif Mohammed Khan Ji. To this event, to launch the book Sing, Dance and Pray by Dr. Hindol Sengupta, the inspiring biography of Srila Prabhupada, the Founder-Acharya of ISKCON, in the Kerala state capital, Thiruvananthapuram. The Honorable Governor, Shri Arif Mohammed Khan Ji, is a renowned scholar, author, thinker, former union minister, and a lawyer by education. He is admired for his profound scholarship in Islam as well as Hinduism. We appreciate and thank Honorable Governor Shri Arif Mohammed Khan Ji for hosting this event in the Raj Bhavan and being the chief guest of the event. Last night, we met the Honorable Governor, and it was an intellectually stimulating and enriching experience to hear his thoughts and ideas for the good of our country and indeed for all of humanity. We welcome you, sir. I also wish to extend a hearty welcome to the Princess of Travancore, Her Highness Srimati Aswathy Thirunal Gowri Lakshmi Bayi Ji. I have heard and read, true to her rich historical and royal tradition she represents, she is an ardent devotee of Shri Padmanabha Swami. You inspire all of us and the people of our nation to also to be devoted to the Lord, Madam. Her Highness is also a well-known author. We appreciate and thank her participation in the event today. We welcome you, Your Royal Highness. We are happy to note Shri Madhu Pandit Prabhuji, the President of ISKCON Bangalore and Chairman of Akshay Patra Foundation, is here with us. This historical city, Thiruvananthapuram, shaped and formed his early days while he spent his school days in this city before he went to IIT Bombay. He has received Padma Shri Award and Distinguished Alumni Award from IIT Bombay, among several other awards, for his humanitarian and spiritual services for nearly 4 decades. We are blessed by your presence, Shri Madhu Pandit Prabhuji. We are happy to have Dr. Hindol Sengupta, historian, international award-winning author, and author of his 10th book, Sing, Dance and Pray, here. Welcome to Dr. Hindol Sengupta. Srila Prabhupada is an extraordinary person of enormous spiritual wisdom, purity, devotion, and accomplishment, who presented the pure teachings of the Vedic literatures in a modern context and on an unprecedented scale all over the world. And he did all of this from his age 70 to 81. He had a very humble beginning, going on a 35-day voyage in a cargo ship from Calcutta to New York at the age of 70 with rupees 40 with him. He also carried with him 200 copies of Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, which he had translated to English and published in Delhi. He had no supporters, sponsors, or institutional backing. But he had unflinching faith in the instruction of his spiritual master Guru Deva, who had ordered him to spread the message of Lord Shri Krishna all over the world for the well-being of all humanity, and similar resolute faith and devotion to the holy name of Shri Krishna. In fact, yesterday, August 13th, in 1965, Srila Prabhupada boarded the cargo ship Jaladuta from Calcutta. As we celebrate Srila Prabhupada's 125th birth anniversary all over the world, we are happy to announce in this historical city two luminaries of esteem, the two of the most renowned persons of Kerala, the Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Arif Mohammed Kanji, and the Princess of Travancore, Srimati Aswathy, Thirunal, Gowri, Lakshmi, Bayi, are participating in this event to launch the biographical book on Srila Prabhupada by Dr. Hindol Sengupta and show their respects and appreciation for the stellar contributions made by Srila Prabhupada to humanity. I also wish to extend a hearty welcome to the devotees, friends, and well-wishers of ISKCON and Akshaya Patra who are participating in this event. Particularly, I would like to mention and welcome Sri Jagat Shakshidas, President of ISKCON Thiruvananthapuram, and the devotees of local ISKCON temple to this event. Welcome to all of you. Namaste, Hare Krishna.
To invite the award-winning author and historian Sri Hindol Sengupta to address us. Before that, a few words about the author. Dr. Hindol Sengupta is a multiple award-winning author of 10 books, and he has been a Chevening Scholar at Oxford and a Knight Bagehot Fellow at the Columbia University, and has a doctorate in international relations from the Geneva School of Diplomacy. He has been a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader. He's a Chief Economic Research Officer at the Invest India, the National Investment Promotion Agency of Government of India. And it's my honor and pleasure to welcome Dr. Hindol Sengupta to speak a few words to you all.
Good afternoon. I'm always really delighted to be here in the name of Lord Ananta Padmanabha Swami. Anything we do in your great city must be in the name of the Lord, and this function is in the name of the Lord. It is He who guides our path. It is He who shows us the way. I'm particularly pleased, ladies and gentlemen, that someone I deeply respect in Indian politics. You know, I was telling Governor Arif Mohammed Khan Saabji that when we were growing up in college, we looked up to scholar politicians. You know, there's a long tradition in world history of scholar politicians. And I was telling Governor Saab that we don't have enough of them, but he's one of those rare people, a true scholar politician. I am most grateful for the Honorable Governor's presence. I am very, very grateful and honored that Her Highness, thank you very much, ma'am, on a Sunday afternoon, Princess Aswathy Thirunal Gowri Lakshmi Bayi has graced her presence. Ma'am, your contribution and your family's contribution, not just to society, but of course to Lord Ananta Padmanabha Swami, is incalculable, and thank you for gracing the occasion. I am particularly delighted and honored that the two people who showed me the path to this book, and without whom this book would have never happened, Madhu Pandita Dasa ji and Chanchalapathi Prabhuji from ISKCON Bangalore, my mentors and guides to this project, are here today. Thank you, thank you. This book is only truly dedicated to you all and your guidance. Thank you very much. It was mentioned that it was only yesterday, back in history, that His Holiness Srila Prabhupada boarded the Jaladuta. So I'll confine my remarks to that moment. And I want to talk to you today about boarding our own Jaladutas. What do I mean? When Srila Prabhupada boarded the Jaladuta, he had nothing. No one knew him in India. He had spent a long time trying to build a movement in India. He had searched for support. He had written to the highest officers of the land. asking for support, but he could not find any. He had only 40 rupees in his pocket and his books when he boarded the Jaladuta. When I started writing about this story, it occurred to me that in life, we all have our Jaladutas waiting. There is a ship that we all have that can take us to our manifest destiny. What is the difference between us and Srila Prabhupada? He had the mercy of the Lord, and therefore he had the courage to board the Jaladuta. Because if you think about it, nothing really could have convinced a 70-year-old man, frail of health, with no money, no support, who had never been able to really build a movement in his own home country where he grew up. How did he find the courage to suddenly say, I will board a cargo ship to go all the way to America? What gave him that courage? That was the difference between Srila Prabhupada and us. He had the courage to board the Jaladuta. And boarding the Jaladuta to me is a metaphor for all the hurdles that we face incessantly. And what is the bridging gap? The bridging gap is the mercy of the Lord. The bridging gap is our faith in the Lord. The bridging gap is our faith that what we are about to do is correct. And even if we don't know, because I often found myself while writing the book, what did Srila Prabhupada really think he would be able to achieve in America? Like, this was a society he did not know. These were people he did not know. This was a culture he did not know. He had never traveled outside the country. It was an entirely different universe. He was a monk from India, a frail, ailing, elderly monk. What did he think he would achieve in a country like America? What did he think America would hold? And the answer, perhaps, was that he did not know, but he had faith. We find Srila Prabhupada on the Jaladuta going through 2 heart attacks, telling himself and the Lord again and again that you have brought me upon this and embarked me on this journey, and now whatever happens, you will make it happen. This faith is something rare. This faith is something to be treasured. This faith is something that is the missing link in many of our lives. In our day-to-day lives, we all have things that we want to do, wish to do, we think maybe we are destined to do, but most of us, sadly, never board the Jaladuta. And I think today, of all days, is a wonderful time to talk about Srila Prabhupada on that ship and the commitment and the devotion he showed by boarding the Jaladuta. Walking up that, there's this wonderful painting and image of Srila Prabhupada walking up the gangway to the ship, right? And I often see that image and I think to myself, this 70-year-old man with this suitcase, right, full of books, he could have easily not made the journey. He could have easily not been able to complete it. He was really frail of health, had 2 heart attacks, as I just mentioned. And yet he had that indomitable faith, that insurmountable faith, that faith that his guru had told him that you're going to do this, and he would. And he did. Miraculously, in the 10 years that he lived, about a decade, 11 years to be very precise, that he lived after that, he was able to create a global movement. He was able to create an institution that has far, far outlived him and continues to grow. All because he boarded the Jaladuta. And I want to leave you with this message therefore, ladies and gentlemen, that there are Jaladutas waiting for each one of you, for each of us, in the name of the Lord Ananta Padmanabha Swami in his own city. I hope and pray each of you and each of us find the courage, the devotion, and the prayer on our lips to board our own Jaladuta. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Your words surely have inspired each and every one of us to board our Jaladuta. I take the pleasure in inviting His Grace Madhu Pandit Dasa, President ISKCON Bangalore and Chairman of Akshaya Foundation to address the gathering. Hare Krishna.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Honorable Governor Shri Arif Mohammed Kanji, Her Highness Princess Aswathy Thirunal Gowri Lakshmi Bayi, Shri Hindol Sengupta, and my godbrother Shri Chanchalapathi Dasa, and all the devotees and supporters of ISKCON and Akshaya Patra who are assembled here. Firstly, I invoke the blessings of Sri Ananta Padmanabh Swami, the presiding deity, for the success of this important initiative. My heart full of gratitude to Honorable Governor Shri Arif Mohammed Kanji, a distinguished scholar, thinker, reformer and administrator, for being the chief guest at today's book launch. I'd also like to thank Her Highness, a surrendered devotee of Sri Padmanabha Swami, respected scholar, writer and philosopher, for kindly consenting to be the guest of honor. Tomorrow is India's 75th year of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and I am happy that we are releasing this book, Sing, Dance and Pray, on the eve of this joyous occasion. Our motherland India is not just a geographical tract of land, but a civilization of spiritual culture and heritage. Srimad Bhagavatam describes the glories of Bharat as a Punya Bhumi. As this Punya Bhumi is so conducive to spiritual realization that even the Devatas would like to take birth on this Punya Bhumi Bharat. Today, we are releasing here Sing, Dance and Pray, a biography of Srila Prabhupada, and is very appropriate on the eve of the Independence Day, where we are glorifying this land Bharat and the independence of the people of this land of Bharat. Srila Prabhupada took the glories of Bharat all over the world. In fact, the other day, the Vice President, the former Vice President, Sri Venkaiah Naidu ji, he declared that Srila Prabhupada was truly the global cultural ambassador from India, who took the Sanatan Dharma, took the culture of India all over the world. India has been the fountainhead of spiritual thought and a leading light of the world for millennia. This has been the home for many philosophers, thinkers, saints and acharyas who have appeared to enlighten humanity with their sublime teachings. Whenever there is moral decline in collective human consciousness, these great personalities have checked imbalances in the values of life. In modern times, we have made tremendous progress in science, technology and other fields. These advancements have provided material comforts, education, economic development throughout the world. However, there is also constant strife and discord in society. We see the rising graph of crime, corruption, iniquities, and these pressing issues seem to eclipse the progress we have achieved in other areas. Due to lack of higher principles in life, there is a disparity and despondency in human society. As a compassionate saint and acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he felt a strong need for re-spiritualization to correct this embarrassing situation. He wanted to bring about Janataga Viplava, or a spiritual revolution, and unite human society with Vedic ideals of universal love and compassion for every living being. He wanted to demonstrate that all of us could become one in peace, friendship and prosperity. He desired to spread Lord Krishna's teachings and attract the world's thinkers, leaders and other inquiring minds to know more about his soothing and healing message for a harried world. Srila Prabhupada traveled to New York City aboard a cargo ship in 1965 at the advanced age of 69 to fulfill his mission. Arriving in America with just a few rupees and his translations of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada began to share the timeless wisdom of Krishna consciousness. In the 11 years that followed, Srila Prabhupada circled the globe 14 times, bringing the teachings of Lord Krishna to millions of people throughout the world. He established more than 100 ISKCON temples in 6 continents. Srila Prabhupada rationally and authoritatively preached that there is God or Almighty One from whom everything emanates, by whom everything is maintained, and by whom everything is merged to rest. As codified in the Vedic aphorism, Janmadasya Yataha. Based on the Gita, he taught, Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya Aham Bija Pradapita. God is the original father of all living entities and we are all his children. He gave us the knowledge that our ultimate goal is to return home to the spiritual world where we can experience eternal freedom. He introduced the simple yet most potent method of self-realization of this yuga, singing, dancing and praying the holy names of God as recommended in the revealed scriptures as Sankirtana. Thus he helped millions of souls achieve peace and happiness. A newspaper of those times even published an article on how Srila Prabhupada is making people chant blissfully and helping them to stay high forever. Srila Prabhupada came from an unbroken, authentic, disciplic succession parampara originating from Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself. About 500 years ago, Sri Krishna appeared on this planet to distribute the love of God in his golden incarnation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He inaugurated the Sankirtana movement through the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He revealed the glories of chanting the holy name and said, Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha. God has millions of names and he has invested all his transcendental energies in his holy names. These names are to be chanted without even any hard and fast rules. He predicted that Krishna's holy name would be heard in every town and village. Srila Prabhupada fulfilled this divine prophecy by undertaking his voyage of compassion to the West. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings were based on the principles of spiritual equality, brotherhood and freedom. In fact, he started the first civil disobedience movement in a peaceful manner in the 15th century against oppression and injustice. He united people regardless of caste, creed or social status and engaged them in his Sankirtana movement. Lord Chaitanya travelled extensively across the country and during his tour in South India, he came to the city of Thiruvananthapuram. He had the ecstatic darshan of Sri Padmanabha Swami. He also visited the Adikeshava Perumal temple in Tiruvattar nearby. This magnificent temple is closely connected to the royal family. There he discovered the ancient scripture Brahma Samhita, which summarizes the science of God and his transcendental activities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted every Indian to take up the responsibility of preaching this science of self-realization and benefit humanity. He said, Bharata bhumite heile manushya janma yara, janma sartaka kari kara para upakara. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people without any discrimination. Srila Prabhupada took up this order and built a home where the whole world could live together harmoniously. I'd like to narrate an incident describing the universal vision of Srila Prabhupada. As a part of his world tour, Srila Prabhupada visited Tehran in 1976. One evening he heard the chanting of the holy prayers from a nearby mosque. He inquired about the meaning of the chants from his followers, who informed him that the prayers is an invitation to sing, dance and glorify God. Srila Prabhupada was very pleased that people of Tehran were devotedly engaged in chanting the names of God. In this way, Srila Prabhupada presented the essential knowledge of the absolute truth in a non-sectarian manner relevant to the entire human society. I appreciate Dr. Hindol Sengupta for capturing all the important aspects of Srila Prabhupada's life in his book. His vivid description of Srila Prabhupada's exemplary life and character is sure to move the hearts of the readers. This book will be a source of inspiration that kindles the spiritual consciousness in people through the life sketch of Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam states, Tvam naha sandarshito dhatra dustaram nisiti idikshitam kalim sattva haram pumsam karnadhara ivarnavam. We think that we have met your goodness by the will of providence, just so that we may accept you as the captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all good qualities of a human being. Srila Prabhupada's biography will create awareness about his divine personality so that people can accept him as their spiritual guide. It is mentioned in the Vedic literature, Mahajano yena gatasya pantaha. One should always accept the progressive path of Mahajanas like Srila Prabhupada and follow in their footsteps. The sacred land of Kerala is a place of saints like Adi Shankaracharya, Kulashekara Alvar, Bilvamangala Swami, Pundhanam, and Mahajanas like Bali Maharaj. It is important that we follow in the footsteps of these great personalities to create a happier, healthier, God-conscious society. In pursuance of Srila Prabhupada's direction, we have been involved in various spiritual and humanitarian services. I am happy that we were able to serve the people of Kerala during the floods and the pandemic through our feeding initiatives. I thank the government of Kerala for supporting us, and we look forward to increasing our services to the people of Kerala. I am very grateful Shri Arif Mohammed Kanji and Her Highness for gracing the event. Your support will help us present the spiritual vision, exemplary life and achievements of Srila Prabhupada to the people of Kerala. I am confident that your presence will inspire everyone, especially youth, to read this life-changing biography and work enthusiastically for a better society. I once again thank everyone assembled here and invite you all to join us in spreading the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, which are the teachings of Krishna, which will bring about universal well-being to one and all, irrespective of religion, caste, language, etc. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
The blessed moment is here, and please join me in inviting Honorable Governor of Kerala, His Excellency Shri Arif Mohammed Kanji, for the release of the book Sing, Dance and Pray, the inspirational life story of Srila Prabhupada, the Founder-Acharya of ISKCON, by Hindol Sengupta. Thank you, Your Excellency. I humbly invite, with joy, a renowned writer herself, Her Highness Princess Aswathy Thirunal Gowri Lakshmi Bayi of Travancore royal family, to address the gathering.
Bhaktim Bhakta Jana Priyadya Vidara Shri Padmanabha Prabho Mukunda Murthna Pranipatya Yaje Bhavandamekandamiyandamartham Avismritistvaccharanarvinde Bhave Bhave Mestu Tava Prasadat. Shri Arif Mohammed Khan, Honorable, Most Honorable Governor of Kerala, and if I may take the liberty to add, a very precious son of Mahabharata. Revered Madhu Pandit Jas, author of the book, Dr. Hindol, Sengupta, revered Chanchalapathi Das of ISKCON, and all the Punyatmas who are assembled here today. I take it as a great privilege to have received this very special, very wonderful book written by a great author from none other than the governor himself in this assembly. Thank you very much to all the ISKCON deciding administrators who have decided I should have the book. Bhartrihari in Niti Shatakam has said that for Apandidanam, the Bhushanam is Maunam. So I feel it is better that I do not speak much, especially the governor, who is a walking encyclopedia himself, is going to address you all. I can only say that in the English alphabet, there are a number of letters, but if we take the letter H, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you can make a number of words with H, but here I restrict it to 3: head, hand, heart. Putting it in Sanatana Dharma vocabulary, we could perhaps say head stands for Jnana Yoga, hand stands for Karma Yoga, and heart stands for Bhakti Yoga. The great Guru, Shri Prabhupada ji, was perhaps a combination of everything, all the 3, but when we think of him, we think immediately of Bhakti. It is Bhakti which perhaps made him do all the wonderful things he did. It was his dedication, but more than his dedication, his devotion and the blessings of Bhagavan. I do not want to speak more on Sri Prabhupada ji or on the ISKCON movement or anything, because here they have already mentioned everything, and it is really and truly wonderful. Many of you know, many of you may not know, that a frail Jivatma, 70 years old, or not of good health, taking such a tremendously challenging voyage on a ship to America, as he said, to unknown lands, to unknown climes, to unknown cultures. And what did he achieve? What did he bring about? ISKCON is today a standing example to what he was able to bring about with the blessings of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. May we are all, I suppose, devotees in our own ways. We have our own paths to devotion. Akashal patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskara keshavam prati gacchati. So we all have different paths, but we have different names by which we address God. We have different ways to approach Him, but finally, whatever it may be, they all come to one meeting point, which is Bhagavan. Whatever may be our concept of Bhagavan. So maybe we have all devotion, we have all bhakti, and here in Thiruvananthapuram, Syanandurapuri, Ananta Shayananagiri, Sri Vazhamkoda, in this land of Padmanabha Swami, whose slaves my family have been greatly privileged to be, with his blessings, with the blessings of every Jivatma who cherishes in him God. May this book reach greater heights, may it circulate to greater areas, and may more and more people benefit by it. Dr. Hindol Sengupta has really produced possibly a marvel. To write such books Just expertise or knowledge are not enough. You need a membody, something a little more than that. And that is the bhakti by which the hand moves, the bhakti by which the head works, the bhakti by which the heart dictates. So let us all have more and more bhakti so that we may serve humanity, that the samsara sagaram, which is many times dukhamayam, may start to see more and more sunlight. May God help us to see a better tomorrow. If today is drab, if today is grey, let the sunshine become stronger tomorrow. And we hope and pray that He will do that. He will help us to do that. And with that prayer, I conclude by chanting Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Padmanabha Swami Sharanam Tripadame Gati.
You have been an inspiration to so many, including myself, and your words would guide us through again. It's now, I take the pleasure to invite, with all due respects, His Excellency Shri Arif Mohammed Khanji, Honorable Governor of Kerala, to address us all. Thank you.
Her Highness Princess Aswathy Thirunal Gowri Lakshmi Bayi, His Grace Shri Madhu Pandit Dasa, His Grace Shri Chanchalapathi Dasa, my dear friend Hindol Sengupta ji, and recently I had the honor and privilege of being co-author with him. We wrote an article together, so it makes it a special moment for me that we are here for the release of the book of Shri Hindol Sengupta. The head of the Thiruvananthapuram Ashram, Swamiji, the members of the ISKCON family, those who are devotees of Srila, Prabhupada, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, it is a pleasure, it is a privilege, it is an honor to be invited to this program to release the book. And when I think I should come to that later. In the book I saw somewhere a quotation from Rajaji, C. Rajgopalacharya, who was earlier, Hindolji, you had referred to intellectuals in public life. He was the epitome of that, Rajgopalacharya ji. And he was a very, very, very inspiring personality. Lived a very simple life, very highly inspiring. I was reading in your book that when Srila Prabhupada met Rajaji, and maybe he asked him to comment on some of his work, Then Rajaji said, I am not presumptuous enough to comment upon one who has taken up the work. There is difference between thinking and doing. Thinking is easy. Doing requires inspiration, and you have taken it up. So if revered Rajaji refrained from commenting on the great work of Srila Prabhupada, who am I? I'm too small and humble to make any fair assessment of his work. But what has impressed me most is he, as Swamiji referred to our former Vice President Venkaiah-ji, that Srila Prabhupada was in the truest sense, he was the spiritual, cultural, civilizational ambassador of India. You said, in fact, by the time Srila Prabhupada came on the scene, we had gone through a period of decline and fall. India's genius, India's identity was, and which has been acknowledged by the writers of the medieval period. Every one of them, those were the days, 9th and 10th century, when Europe was still living in darkness. Renaissance had not yet taken off fully. But Middle East was thriving with intellectual activities after 8th century. And you refer to any historian of that period, whether it is Tabri, whether it is Ibn Khaldun, it is Ibn Kasir, Ibn Asir, they all refer to India as the land, as the civilization which promotes knowledge and wisdom. Everybody has acknowledged. And in fact, in the Muslim literature, there is a prophetic narration. And some of them have referred to that narration tradition also. Ajidu rihal ilmi min biladil Hind. I am feeling the cool breeze of knowledge coming from the land of India. Now, a prophet, suppose not that we had not done work in the physical sciences, there was tremendous work. The whole world, the numerals which we use today, they are called Arabic numerals. Europe calls them Arabic numerals. So the whole world calls them Arabic numerals. But Arabs do not call them Arabic numerals. They call them Hindsa, something which came from India. They give credit where it is due. In fact, for the engineer, the word is Mohandis. So they recognize, they acknowledge that this knowledge has come to us from India. I'm talking of the physical sciences. But a prophet won't, when he says that I'm feeling the cool breeze of knowledge coming from the land of India, then surely it was much more than the knowledge which comes from physical sciences. It is the knowledge, what we call of the essence, of the reality. the inner sciences. Science which deals with the outside world, and the whole world is inside you. That science, India was known for that spirituality. Now, according to Swami Ranganathananda, who was president of the Ramakrishna mission, during the period of her decline, from being worshippers of Ma Saraswati, we became villains of Saraswati. When we denied access to knowledge to our masses. And when knowledge is denied to the masses, the society becomes weak in that process. He has quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, Saraswati Gyan Khalva Yatha Sati. And if I quote exactly his words, he said that in practical terms, from being worshippers of Ma Saraswati, we became villains of Ma Saraswati. Now this period of Renaissance which started about, now we can say, Hindolji, can we say 200 years or 150 years from Bengal? Then these personalities emerged on the scene who realized what great treasures we have. And they realized the Indian teaching. In Upanishad there is a dialogue. A general direction has been given. Or a teaching comes from our tradition. Tapa so adhyay nirittam. Ever devoted to the pursuit of knowledge. Swami Vivekananda says that the goal of human life is not pursuit of happiness. Because if that is the summum bonum of the human life, then what prevents me from, in order to make myself happy, if I make others unhappy, what prevents me from doing that? Therefore, he says that the purpose of human life is pursuit of knowledge. And the purpose of knowledge is to find unity amidst diversity. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore said when he was accepting the Nobel Peace Prize, he referred to two lines from Upanishad. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanne vanu pashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tatona viju guptase. In fact, he wanted to tell the world that I represent these values, I represent these ideals. I come from a country which upholds these values. And what is this value? This value is that one who has trained his mind to see his own self in all beings and all beings in his own self. He has no room, no space is left for him to nurse any aversion or even indifference anymore towards anybody. That is what the essence of Indian civilizational cultural heritage is. It is not merely Vasudev Kutumbakam. That has been used in a context. In fact, sometimes it is a bit interesting to know that when this particular shlok was used in Hitopanishad, it was used, this was to deceive somebody. No, in Panchatantra, it was used to deceive one animal in order to deceive the other animal is using. Somebody raised this question in a seminar in Delhi. I said, you can deceive someone only when he believes, you are using something in which the other person believes. Your intention is malicious, but it does not the fact still remains that the basic belief in this concept of Vasudev Kutumbakam is intact and very strong, and that is why this is being used. I said this is not a deceptive slogan. This is based on the basic belief of Indians that Vasudev is Kutumb. So these teachings, I was saying to Swamiji yesterday that I find it absolutely intriguing that a tradition which has universal vision, which does not identify a person in terms of alienable and variable characteristics associated with the birth. Rather, it identifies a person in terms of inalienable and invariable characteristic, that is Atma. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. That tradition is viewed by the world as a parochial tradition. This tradition does not allow you to discriminate even between a believer and the non-believer. Pashand, Nagam, Shreni, Puga, Virat, Guna, Dishu, Sarrakchet, Samyam, Raja, Durge, Janpade, Tatha. Pashand, those who deny Vedas. Nagam, those who believe in Vedas, or anybody. The duty of the ruler is to ensure protection of law, equality before law to every one of those who are his subjects, whether they deny the Vedas, whether they believe in Vedas, they do not believe in anything, they believe in anything. The great crime, in my opinion, which we have committed against our own tradition is that we have made it as one parallel faith tradition. It is not. Why it is not? Because every faith tradition prescribes a mode of everybody is a believer. The majority of the people in the world, they believe in God. What differentiates them? The insistence on a particular mode of approach. Indian tradition, if I may say so, Sanatan tradition does not prescribe any particular specific mode of approach. Achintaya siya prameyasya nirgun siya sharirina upasaka namo siddhiyartam brahmino roop kalpana. Uttam sahaj avastha, dittiya dhyan dharana, tirtiya prittima puja, home yatra chaturth. You conceive of him whatever suits your genius. You are free to approach him in a manner which is suitable to your own disposition. Prakirti yanti bhutani. Everyone does according to the disposition on which one is born. So what I find very fascinating is that Srila Prabhupada undertook this journey, as pointed out earlier, at the age of 70, to ensure that this knowledge becomes accessible not only to every Indian, but every person in the world. That is something remarkable. People joining, he was not asking anybody to change. Those who joined him, those who were attracted to him, those he adopted his method of praising, glorifying God, that's all. Because ultimately, it helps you to evolve, to develop into a better human being. So I believe, or I think Swamiji had told me, or I read in the book, that somebody asked him about this. He said, no, you stick with your own tradition. But we can get together to glorify God. And that is the point which I was making earlier, that faith tradition normally they prescribe modes of approach. Sanatan does not. Sanatan talks about the basic thing. And hence, in my view, it is not fair to treat this tradition as a parallel faith tradition. No, there is room for everybody in it. If you believe in one God, there is room in it. If you don't believe in idol worship, there is room in it. Even if you don't believe in anything, there is room in it. Why? Because the concept of evil is not there. In fact, Sanatan has the concept of Vipreet Bhakti. Even those who are criticizing, who are abusing you, they are not to be treated as evil. That what they are doing is Vipreet Bhakti, like Ravan was doing, or Kansa was doing. That is Vipreet Bhakti, because ultimately they also attained moksha. They were not condemned to hell. And this great universal tradition with a universal vision, Srila Prabhupada became one of the most effective carrier of this tradition to the whole world. I pay my respectful pranam to his memory. I would like to compliment ISKCON, Swamiji and Hindolji for publishing this book, and I hope that we will try to. He was an inspiring figure, and that will help us to become better persons and strengthen this tradition, where it has been said, I had earlier referred to Tapa Swadhyaya Niritam, ever devoted to the pursuit of knowledge. But in Upanishad there is another dialogue, where question was raised, what is Tapa? Many answers were given, but the answer which found acceptance was Tapa is Swa Adhyay plus Pirvachan. Do your best, strive for the acquisition of knowledge, and when you acquire knowledge, share it with others. That is the lesson which I feel we need to learn from the life of Srila Prabhupada, and I would again thank you very much for your kind invite and giving me this opportunity to meet all these wonderful people. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the thought-provoking as well as inspiring words. Now I take the opportunity to present a token of love and gratitude on behalf of ISKCON. I invite His Grace Shri Madhu Pandit Dasa to give His Excellency a token of gratitude. We would also like to present a memento to Her Highness Ashwathy. Excellence. Thank you, Your Grace. I thank Krishna for the blessing showered on this day. I take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Shri Arif Mohammed Khanji and his
Swami, he's yes, pleasure. You are welcome. I would love to. No, I would love to. Delhi में भी मैं जाता हूँ. Last month I was there in Pune. Before that I was in ISKCON in Mumbai. That's right.